When you grow up in Nigeria, that some of these things happen. A lot of things happen in high school. I mean, they're teenagers there. But then you come to Romania, or maybe you just leave Nigeria or the African continent, and then you get culture shocked. And that is why today we're going to be talking about the biggest culture shocks in Romanian high schools from a Nigerian perspective. Number one, dating. Now, in Nigerian high schools, you hear a lot, even from our parents' generation, that people have been in relationships and dating in high school, but not publicly. Not telling your teachers that, yo, I am with somebody in the same school. Well, it happens here, and sometimes the teacher can even ask if you have a girlfriend or you have a boyfriend here or whatever, and they really won't care. As far as you're not breaking any rules of very, very close contact, which you shouldn't even be doing in any public or institutional places, yeah, they really don't care. During break time, you get disgusted, and if you're single, you just can't handle it. From TV shows, it was expected. I wasn't ready for that in real life. Like my eyes weren't trained and prepared, and yeah, I needed training. Second of all, makeup, nails, and hair. I really like this one, but it was a culture shock to see that people were allowed to wear heavy makeup. Like in some schools, probably they have rules against these things I'm talking about, but people just do it anyways, and maybe just when the director is in there or. But I came from a school in Nigeria where you cannot even use extensions on your hair. You couldn't braid certain hairstyles. You couldn't make twists. You couldn't like it had to be natural. You couldn't even use Brazilian wool as an extension. So you only had your natural hair. You couldn't even dye your hair. So it had to be, natural colors, and blonde would not be considered a natural color, okay? But over here I see a bunch of teenagers who experiment themselves, which I am happy and I'm grateful that that exists. They are able to dye their hair. They're able to do whatever hairstyle, um wear makeup, experiments, do their nails. I love doing my nails, so apart from now, but so I like that kind of freedom. I understand that the Nigerian perspective of it is, reducing distraction, but why isn't anyone getting distracted here? The point is that distractions happen when things are new. When things are normalized, nothing becomes a distraction anymore. It's like when a newborn baby comes out, they're looking everywhere because they've never seen the world before. That's what drags their attention, new things. Okay? Expose the children, expose the teenagers. But honestly, I really like that one, even though it was kind of a cultural shock at first because I didn't know how I should dress, how, what would be permitted or not. Although at some points, the director of my high school did put a law against very flashy makeup and dyeing, unnatural colors or like very bright colors. But she didn't say that you can't wear makeup, just not, very flashy and all that. But if it was in Nigeria, I couldn't even line my lips, man. I couldn't wear. Maybe the only thing I could get away with would be very, very light concealer that would match my shade perfectly, and maybe some lip balm, and that's it. The third on my list is the amount of freedom. What I mean by that is that during break, some people are actually like we are actually allowed to go out and buy food, like go out of the school to buy food, obviously from the teachers permission. Unless it's during break, we can go out. Maybe if you're fortunate enough to have your school very close to a fast food, uh, you're going to a great high school, man. So yeah, you have a lot of freedom. You have a lot of freedom to go out, Unfortunately, in some schools, students abuse the freedom to, vape or smoke in the bathroom or outside, in corners, Yeah, these things also happen in Nigerian high schools, but in secrets. I mean, over here it's kind of in secret, but at some points they didn't care. It was just outside of the school. Some high schools are like this, some are not. It depends. I think the other one was the fourth one on my list or the third. I don't remember. So, number whatever on my list, we have expressing opinions freely. Now, in Nigeria, this would be seen as talking back if you translate it in Nigerian. So basically, I would give an example of a scenario. Assuming you have a bad grade, or maybe something happens wrongly, which you find wrong, okay? You think it isn't right, and then you stand up to the teacher and say, okay, you did this, you did that, I didn't like that. And some teachers actually listen, some are like, I don't have your time. But the thing is that they don't give like harsh punishments unless the teacher is really, really strict. Okay. Most teachers tend not to give punishments, or maybe they would just play the same games as you or kind of match your vibe. Some are really good listeners and would listen to your opinions and understand. Okay, like this one time we had a project at math, and the math teacher said, if you weren't present at a certain date, I won't give you the projects anymore, and you won't have that grade anymore through any other thing. Like, you won't be able to correct it. And then someone who wasn't in class, or he came later, I don't remember, said his opinion that, it's not fair. I still came that day, just later and all that, but I still got an absence because of, the school rules in high school, that if you come over 10 minutes late you get an absence and blah blah blah. So the teacher understood, like he listened. I don't know if he understood, but he listened. There was respect in communication, waiting for the other person to finish talking before interrupting or, replying, which I think that is how a conversation should work. I low key like that, but the Nigerian training in me will still see that as talking back. And if it was a Nigerian teacher or a parent who who you said that to, you would get you would get seriously punished. Yeah. And then the last one on my list is something very petty, such as using colors on my notebook. In Nigeria, you are used to using only blue or black ink. The red is only for teachers, and other colors, like, you kind of aren't allowed other colors. At least I have never heard of anyone being allowed that before in Nigeria. But over here, it came as a shock to me seeing that people were able to use red on their notebooks. I mean, the teachers, not all of them really mark your notebooks, but in Nigeria, the red was only reserved for teachers. Whereas over here, some teachers do have rules that you should only use a blue pen, maybe use other colors to highlight, but mostly just a blue pen or black. But very few teachers have those rules, and it's mostly to organize their subjects, mostly maybe Romanian or biology, all those kind of structural subjects. So these are things that I can remember which came as cultural shock to me as of the time I came newly. So if you have any other ideas, please comment down below, or any other video ideas which could help the channel, help you and me. You get it? Me and you. By Thames. And if you really enjoyed this video till the end, please consider sharing to someone who you think this video might be useful to, and consider subscribing. Bye.